Penguin Random House Audio presents Isabella's Not Dead by Beth Morrey, narrated by Gemma Whelan.
Part 1. Chapter 1. I was on my third gin and tonic and thinking about sneaking off for a bath when Rachel produced the Ouija board and Amanda announced she was leaving her husband. She'd been building to this decision all afternoon, drowning her marital sorrows in a bottle of Rioja and moaning about his endless business trips. There wasn't much I knew about Christian Simmons. He worked in construction, and in Amanda's Instagram photos he always looked painfully sunburnt. But neither of those things necessarily marked him out as a matrimonial disappointment. Mind you, there wasn't much I knew about Amanda either, not having seen her in the flesh for several years. Nowadays she was much blonder and self-consciously moderated her northern vowels. She might have changed in other ways, but they weren't immediately apparent, and we were only on the first night of the weekend. It was clear no one wanted to get into Mrs. Simmons' impending divorce, so we all turned our attention to the Ouija board instead, the lesser of the two evils. The cottage was a converted pub, tastefully renovated. Art prints of various lakes on the walls, wipe-clean leather sofas, a welcome Kendal mint cake, and a complimentary basket of logs for the fire. There was a big kitchen with 2 dishwashers and 4 double bedrooms with beds that could be repurposed as twins. Perfect for get-togethers, if you didn't mind sharing, which I wasn't sure about. Even though I'd officially known my roommate for 40 years, cohabiting wasn't much fun when you were 53 and a restless sleeper. History repeating itself, Rachel was revelling in her role as the rebel of the group, having brought hash brownies to the party, plus 20 Marlborough for old time's sake. The brownies were actually a tray bake, which I appreciated as a middle-aged twist on misdemeanor. Martha Stewart meets, well, Martha Stewart. Never mind drugs. I was pretty sure the Airbnb was strictly non-smoking, but as we worked our way through the booze, rules went out the window, along with our coughing exhales. I'd had 2 fags, and I'd never smoked before, not even in school. Chloe, my roomie, had already been sick, and it was only 10:30, though long past bedtime for all of us. 8 former school friends fueled by various hormones, herbs, chemicals, and tipples. It was a messy regression. Rachel Lloyd, Amanda Simmons, Chloe Coulson, Min Chu, Erica Stanley, Holly Griffiths, Bhavani Gupta, and me, Gwen Mortimer. Our Lake District idyll had cost £1,800 plus £500 for a highly alcoholic Ocado order, which meant I'd spent nearly £300 on a weekend I felt deeply ambiguous about. We'd kept in touch intermittently over the years, through an email group called Harper Harlots, which was what we'd named ourselves when we were 16 and playing in a hockey team together against the nearby Bakewell Tarts. It seemed funny at the time. Why had we kept in contact when so many other friendships had fallen by the wayside? Probably due to Holly, who did something glamorous in PR, was aggressively social, and had established a tradition of round-robin emails between us every Christmas. She'd also organised the whole weekend, finding the cottage and cajoling everyone into booking. Seeing her name flash up on my phone a few months before, I'd answered because it was such a novelty to hear the dry rasp of her voice after all that time, then couldn't think of an excuse on the hop. To get 8 out of the original 11 team members together was quite an achievement, really. Danielle Seatsman wasn't there because she lived in New York, Gracie Wagstaff couldn't get childcare, and, well, 8 was good. An even number. It would be fun, wouldn't it? Apart from weddings and big birthdays, many of us hadn't seen each other in years, hadn't got together as a group in decades. "We're in our prime," party girl Rachel had shrieked, doling out the cigarettes after we'd eaten Bhavani's chili. But we weren't, really. She said it again when she got out the Ouija board, and it sounded like she was protesting too much, but it turned out I hadn't heard her correctly, and she was actually saying Amazon Prime in reply to someone asking her where she got the board. It was a flimsy wooden thing, with the alphabet in a semicircle across the top, and numbers in the straight line across the middle. In the top 2 corners it said yes and no, and at the very bottom it said goodbye, which I supposed gave the spirit world its way out if it got a better offer. Even fueled by gin, I wasn't sure I really wanted to strike up a conversation with a bunch of dead people, but the alternative was marriage counselling with an increasingly maudlin Amanda. We put our fingers on the planchette and looked to Rachel for further guidance. "It says you just ask your questions," she mumbled through Lindor, a chocolatey finger tracing the instructions. "Don't we have to open a line of communication?" pondered Chloe, who'd made a miraculous recovery and was back on the whiskey sours. "How do we do that?" Bavney, swigging on a can of mojito, was simultaneously patting Amanda's heaving shoulder in a comforting manner. "It'll create an atmosphere," said Chloe, and went round switching off lights. Everyone then grumbled that it was too dark, since Min was deaf and relied mostly on lip-reading, but Chloe was set on the drama. Commanded by Chief Coordinators Rachel and Holly, Erica lit candles, grudgingly, because she was still pissed off with Rachel for bringing the hash brownies, which had eclipsed her straight carrot cake. Tall and rangy, one of those natural beauties, Erica fancied herself as a bit of an earth mother. Not the kind of woman who would actually wear an apron, but maybe one of those toast smock dresses to signify rusticity. She'd bored me rigid earlier, talking about her chickens, and her cake tasted vegan. But maybe I just felt guilty because I hadn't brought anything to the party, physically or emotionally. Not so much as a tea loaf. When the atmosphere had been created, a silence settled, and we all stared at each other in the candlelight. It softened our features, briefly, and I could see the girls we'd been, before life took over and gave us the lines and sags of middle age. Rachel still looked good, probably because she hadn't had children, plus she was leggy and had big hair. Min had also aged well, her blunt fringe framing a youthful, open face. Amanda's blonde princess prettiness was as brittle as the balsa board, but then my own pixie-ish, scrawny look was increasingly difficult to maintain without looking pinched and haggard. Erica was kind of ageless, so she could be 30 or 60, like a smug nun. Chloe had just been sick, so wasn't at her best, but usually she looked well-groomed, like a show pony, thick brown mane swishing whenever she told one of her tall tales. Holly was still sexy in her mussed-up, grubby way, and Bavney was beautiful but had allowed her hair to go completely grey, which made her seem older than all of us. When I thought of the ancient photo Holly sent along with the house details, us in our kit, lithe in shorts and bibs, flushed and carefree and so goddamn young, I felt depressed. We were that much closer to the spirit world already. Did we really need to be striking up a conversation with it? "Are you there?" intoned Rachel. "Is who there?" barked Holly. "Who are we talking to?" Rachel shrugged. "Whoever's about, on the other side. Shouldn't we have someone in mind? Elvis? Marilyn? Mr. Fogarty?" We all made sad noises. Mr. Fogarty was, or had been, a favourite geography teacher, kind and gentle. He was also the last person I'd imagine would be hanging about in the hereafter, waiting to talk to a group of drunken, middle-aged former pupils. "Princess Di. Geronimo the alpaca? Bambi's mum." "I want to talk to my great-aunt Verity," piped up Chloe. "Ask her why she never put me in her fucking will." "Let's just ask the spirits who's there," said Rachel firmly. She cleared her throat. Who is there?" "Why are you talking like that?" "Like what?" "All sing-song." "I'm not." "Yes, you are. Who is there? Like Madame Arcati." "Who's Madame Arcati?" "Philistine." "Look, it's moving." Chloe shrieked.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?